Hey everyone, welcome back to 1 Minute Walking Tours. I'm Jonathan here. We are here again in GreenWood Cemetery, and I wanted to show you some of these tombs which are built actually into the walls here, not walls, the sides of the hill. And this is actually the plateau, it's called, in GreenWood Cemetery. And there's a reason for that, is that this is actually the highest spot on Long Island. And you'll see the monument here behind me. This is Battle Hill. This is the focal point for, the story of my life at leaf blowers. Have you ever shot a student film? I'm convinced that people follow you around with a leaf blower. He said action. They do a lovely job keeping the grounds here. But honestly, I feel like, I know I need a lav, but don't worry about it. I'm not. It's a beautiful day. But this is the plateau, which is the focal point for August 27th's fighting at the Battle of Brooklyn. Now, I've talked about the Battle of Brooklyn here in 1 Minute Walking Tours before, and I said I would get to GreenWood to talk about it, but I wanted to find the most beautiful day we could find, and so far, this has been it. Now, what's interesting is that this monument isn't to the Battle of Brooklyn. It's actually New York's, or Brooklyn's, monument to New York in the American Civil War. And we'll walk over here in a minute. I just wanted to show you the landscaping. And as I've said, GreenWood really is a beautiful spot for landscaping, for sculpture, for history. And part of that history, it overlaps. And this is the GreenWood's commemoration plaque. And you can see, this is where we are. And you can see the battle lines. Gowanus Bay, I've talked about that. This is Red Hook. I live up in here. And this, of course, is Manhattan. So we'll go up and talk about this in a second. Battle path we're on. So one takes these stairs to the highest spot on Long Island, which is not as flat as you think it is, especially if you've ever tried to cycle the length of Long Island. Now, a little around 500,000 New Yorkers will serve to protect and preserve the Union. And this rather sedate monument is here. And I did a tour of the monument in the Grand Army Plaza, which is modeled after the Arch de Triomphe in Paris. And this one is actually rather sedate. Focuses more on the humanity of the men of New York, the men who fought in all of the branches. You have the engineers symbol there, pioneers with the axe, cavalry with the dashing plumes and their hats, depictions of bravery in the bronze, erected in 1869. Now, that's only a few years after the war. That's very, very early. Most monuments won't start going up until around 1890s. This is artillery. You can see the rammer and the sponge. Ever remember how much national prosperity is due to the brave exertions of the soldiers who died in the service of their country? And here we see some wounded men in the infantry, and Chris Keenan is watching. It's making him angry that never rest your arm on the muzzle of your weapon. I like this monument very much. It speaks to me. This is the solemnity of it. Now, from here, these troopers, these soldiers get to look out on all of New York City. But there's another piece to this. From the plateau, we're walking. This is a tour after all. We need to stay with the tour. And like I said, this is the highest point in Brooklyn. And honestly, you feel it walking up there. And maybe as a little extra bit, we'll walk over to where Maestro Leonard Bernstein is buried. We have Minerva, who is this statue right here. These folks are over there. I won't bother them. Now, Minerva is waving, as you can see. I'll walk over. Now, despite not being the focal point of the fighting on August 27th, I guess this whole hill would have been the focal point for the fighting on August 27th. Minerva here is Brooklyn's dedication to its role and New York's role in the war for independence. And it's too far out to see it, but Minerva is waving and she's looking out, and she is in line 100% looking right out. And I know you can't see it, but I'm pointing to it. That's the Empire. I mean, that's the Statue of Liberty. And she's waving hello. Remembering that New York played and Brooklyn played a big role in the war for independence and the creation of our country, good and ill. One must remember, New York was the biggest slave state until the early 19th century. But let's not go down that road. It is a beautiful day after all. And we're looking at a beautiful sculpture and all sorts of other beautiful things. Now, because people like to ruin things, for a long time, there had been proposed a building that would go up in between Statue of Liberty and Minerva. Everybody, no matter how non-political they were, said, why on earth would you do that? So they could never get the building permits, and this alignment in this moment of history has been preserved for now. So as you know, 1 Minute Walking Tour now has a YouTube. It has that new YouTube smell. Please like and subscribe. It'll help the channel, help us go new places and do new things together, and stay safe, and we'll see you here soon on 1 Minute Walking Tour.